Happy Easter! Here's a quick collection of spooky stories. Be me, 8 or 9 years old. Male. Good life. Good family. Grandma became a nun after Grandpa died. It's Easter, and at school we're making Easter bunny masks. We're taught how it's about religion and what the chocolate eggs represent and all that. So I put a crucifix on my mask's forehead. Easter comes. Chill day. Eat chocolate. Play. Watch Get Smart on TV and go to bed. Bed is opposite from the kitchen, and the kitchen has this weird tiny little window that I can see while lying in bed. I couldn't fit through this window, and I'm a skinny little 8-year-old. Wake up at night and go to the toilet. Get back in bed. There's a face staring at me through the window. It's wearing my Easter bunny mask. Pull blanket up over my eyes. Get courage to peek again. It's in the kitchen, standing still, staring at me. Pull blanket up over eyes. Monsters aren't real. Monsters aren't real. Tiny peek over the blanket. It's standing in my doorway. Cover self with blanket. Lie still. Pretend to be asleep. Breathe softly. Looking terrified. Wait for an eternity. Well, if it was gonna eat me, it would have done it by now. Wait a little longer. Finally peek. A humanoid figure in complete black, save for the Easter bunny mask, is standing over me, hand outstretched towards my face, and it spoke. I heard it talking, but I think it was talking in my head. Scream and nope it down the hall into my parents' room. It was a bad dream, son. No, it wasn't a dream. Well, when I was younger, I used to see a lot of weird shit in my house. The earliest I remember happened in 2001 when I was 5. Laying in bed, surrounded by my various stuffed animals, had my nightlight on because I was afraid of the dark. Loved these things, treated them like my friends, told them secrets and whatnot, stupid little kid shit. There was one that was my favorite, a yellow stuffed rabbit I got one Easter. Don't know why I loved it so much, it just seemed like it actually listened. Anyway, while I was in bed, I was talking to the yellow rabbit, told it about how my parents were fighting that day, told it I wished they could be friends like we were. I just stared at it smiling for a while. Then it winked. It fucking winked. I promptly threw it across my room and screamed for my dad. My dad came into my room and turned on the light. He sat on the bed and stared at me with a blank expression. Told him about the rabbit and how it scared me. He just stared and stared until he finally said, "I thought we were friends, Anon." Wink. That's when I heard my dad, my real dad, coming down the hallway yelling about how my light was on in the middle of the night. I tried to tell him about my rabbit, but he was just pissed about my light being on. He turned off my lights and shut the door. My nightlight had burned out, and I was alone in the dark. Be around 6, my sister 8. Super pumped for Easter. It was practically a second Christmas at our house. Stay up waiting for the Easter bunny. Hours and hours slowly ebb our fragile patience. I'm half asleep when my sister nudges me awake. She says the Easter bunny's out the window. Look out, there's a large, dark shape with a definite hopping gait moving to our sliding door. It stops in front of the door, shifting from side to side like it's looking in. We get great hype from this. Get into our beds, go to sleep, so the Easter bunny will grant us delicious candies. Imagine my horror when we found out there was no Easter bunny. Never thought about posting this before, but this seems like a good time. Be kid, 6 to 8, in bed, night before Easter. Wake up at some unknown time, it's dark. Hear footsteps going up and down the stairs. Stairs are right outside my door. Oh my god, it's the Easter bunny, come to give me chocolate! I gotta pretend to sleep. The footsteps don't stop. Start getting scared, think the Easter bunny is going to kill me. Scared shitless, close my eyes and eventually do fall asleep. Footsteps continued going up and down until I fell asleep. 10 years later, in a different country, childhood friend has just moved here and family goes to visit, talking about my old house. They told me I was so scared whenever I went over there. I got confused and asked why. Because it's haunted. Me, yeah, sure. Mom walks over. What are you talking about? Tell her the friend thinks our old house was haunted. It was. The previous owners warned us about it before we bought it. They said they saw an old woman in the attic. Later that night, in bed thinking about what she said, suddenly remember the Easter bunny thing. There's no such thing as the Easter bunny. People keep saying that. He won't show up if you don't believe. Working as an Easter bunny at a country club. Never been there before, so no one knew me. The person who hired me wasn't even there. First creepy little walks up out of the blue and asks, "Is your name girl's name, Anon?" It totally is, even though I'm a dude. Weird. Shrug it off. Move on. Later, a different, super serious little brat just stares into the mesh eyes of the fiberglass rabbit head and whispers, "I can see your real face, Easter Bunny. I can see your real face." My face when I never removed the mask the whole day, and there's no way he saw me drive up. Be about 5, at Uncle's house for Easter, playing in backyard with cousins and older brother. Backyard has no fence, just big field stopping abruptly at the edge of some woods. Cousins and brother go back inside for some food, alone for about 3 minutes before a tall, skinny, gray man silently leaps out of the woods. Gray man comes sprinting towards me on all fours. Looked mostly humanoid, still really skinny and tall, but not necessarily enough to be inhuman. Don't remember a face. Turn around and book it back to the house. Screaming and crying when I come in the house. Vaguely remember everyone laughing at me. I seem to remember finding out it was my uncle who had leapt out of the woods. He always used to play tricks on us. However, I remember bringing it up a couple of years later at his house for one of my cousin's birthday parties, and no one seemed to remember it. My mom looked really concerned when I insisted that this had happened. To this day, not a single family member remembers it, but it's so vivid in my mind. I even remember what my Easter dress looked like and everything. Whoa, this reminds me. Be 3 to 4, wake up Easter morning, find Easter basket at foot of bed. Take it into the kitchen where the family is hanging out and waiting for me to get up. Mom, Grandpa, and Grandma are chilling, all talking about the Easter bunny and telling me he brought it, even though back then I knew it was from my mom. Went back to my room for some reason, find another Easter basket sitting in front of the window, run out with the second basket all excited. All their faces go blank and they look at each other confused. There was no one else in the house. To this day, my mom and grandma swear they had nothing to do with it. Easter Bunny is real. I don't know if this image has been seen by other people when they were children, but I saw these hands when I was 4. Yeah, and you'll be seeing these hands again, buddy, so watch out. Before, a day or so after Easter, Mom wants to take a nap, so we go to bed. Sometime in the afternoon. Still light out. Can't sleep, so I play with a blow-up Easter rabbit doll. Turn over to face the wall next to the bed. Out pops a blue hand from the crevice between the bed and wall. Waves back and forth like it's saying hi. Scared silent and turn over and burrow myself into my mom. Fall asleep eventually and told her when we wake up. The hand looked like a normal adult human hand. I got the impression male, and it looked like it was dipped in blue paint. There was another account when it touched my ankle in my sleep and woke me up, and I found blue fingerprints on the bed like it walked over on 2 fingers. I was around the same age also. Has anyone ever encountered a blue hand? Be 9 or so. Mom takes my brothers and I out to places to get our minds off of our recently deceased father. City is holding Easter egg hunt outside of town by some woods. Go looking. Wander off in the woods thinking there might be some eggs there. Get lost. See another boy there, dressed kinda weird. Start talking to him. We go looking for a way out together. At the same time, start chatting it up with the boy I just met. Find a way out, not the way I came back in, but pretty damn close. Turn and tell the boy that we did it, but he's nowhere to be seen. He was right there, right next to me. Walk to my family. They didn't even know I was gone, so I think nothing of it. Move about 3 years later. A few years after I moved, I remembered what happened, so I decided to look into it a bit. I asked my mom about the area we were in, and she told me the name of it. After doing some research, I found that during the early 60s, a boy was murdered during a class field trip out in those woods. Maybe it was just a superstition, or it might have been my foggy memory from such a young age, but I could have sworn the victim looked just like the boy I met in the woods that day. Be just a boy, no more than 8 at the time. Have a brother 16 months elder. Mom gets bro an inflatable plastic bunny punching bag for Easter, amongst other things. It's pink, 3 foot tall, and has a wide base, so when you hit it, it rocks back. Said bunny rabbit also possesses dagger-shaped ears and a demon smile. Bro loves it, punching it a lot. I silently nope at it all morning. Afternoon comes and I'm by myself watching some rad cartoons. Bunny is sat across the room facing me. Keep shifting vision between Bunny and TV. Bunny says something to me in my head. I can't remember what, but it was threatening. Bunny's smile is super wide and creepy. Instantly decide it's either him or me. Wait until cover of darkness. That is, until after Mom puts us to beddy by. 007 out of my room past my parents' bedroom and go downstairs to where the bunny is. Walk up to it and stand before it. Use both hands to rip open a hole in its neck. Stand and watch as it deflates. Go outside and throw it in the garbage can. Don't put it in a garbage bag or anything, just throw it in there. Next time my bro and parents are upset that the bunny is gone. I don't say anything. Parents probably saw it in the garbage can later, but never said anything. It was either him or me. Be around 9 or 10, fishing with my dad, uncles, and cousins. Want to catch that giant fish from Hunter x Hunter. I come along with my cousins onto a raft to test my hunter skills. Start freaking out because the water is too deep, so my cousin tied one end of his belt to my waist and the other end to his waist, and we start fishing. Suddenly, something tugged on my pole and I fell into the water. I didn't even freak out at first, I just stared at the seaweed or whatever you call those underwater plants. But this f***ing Easter bunny came out of the plants and started swimming away from me. He looked like a guy in an Easter bunny costume. So I started freaking out and screaming underwater. I got pulled out by my cousin and told him what I saw. They think it's Bigfoot. I think it's the Easter bunny. Be 11 to 12 years old around 1999. Easter evening at Grandpa's house. Family pictures are over. Outside with my little brother, 6-ish. Playing with a camera. Take picture of brother. See something big and black moving over his shoulder down the road. Zoom in with the camera. It's f***ing big, vaguely canine, and walking on 2 legs. Long pointy ears and a snout. Snout looks alligator-like, moving in this weird jerky manner. Reminds me of one of those old stop-motion films. Drop camera. Feel a cold weight in the bottom of my stomach. Little brother is confused by my facial expression. Turns around and sees it. He screams in terror. Thing stops for a second, cocks its head. Mouth opens for a second, see a long-ass tongue. Door to house flies open. Grandpa's running out to see what's wrong. Thing snaps out of it, starts sprinting towards the fence across the road. Grabs onto it with its bottom legs and crosses over it really weird. Bounds off into the brush. Grandpa arrives, asks what happened. Notice he's unholstered his handgun. Rest of the family gets outside. Describe what we saw in tears to family. Aunt says, "Oh, it must have been a black bear or a German shepherd." Grandpa's looking at me funny. Doesn't say anything, but looks like he knows something. We leave shortly afterward. My grandpa refused to talk about that shit. My brother remembers it, but he freaks out and changes the subject if it comes up. Fence was still fucked up where it grabbed onto it last time I went back there around 2009-ish. A friend of my grandpa's from that area once slipped something while drunk about seeing a giant black thing gnawing on a cow and dragging it into the brush when he was a teenager, but that's all else I've ever heard. A few shitty ones from when I was younger. B3 or 4, at babysitters laying on floor looking at ceiling. See a small white cloud or fog against the roof move into the crack at the top of the closet door. Get up and open closet and look inside. Nothing unusual there. Okay. B4, Easter morning, laying in bed waiting for parents to get up so I can look around the house for chocolate. Roll over in bed to check time and see the back of a large animal with brown hair moving across the ground next to the bed. Oh, it's the Easter bunny. Roll back over and shut eyes tight, trying my hardest to pretend to be asleep. Parents finally get up and come get me. Search the room for chocolate that the Easter bunny left. Nothing. We had a cat, but it was a lot smaller and a different color, and I used to have a baby gate across my bedroom door to keep the cat out because my parents thought the cat would suffocate me in my sleep. B3-ish, staying at cabin with parents. Dad's chopping wood a little ways away, tells me to go back to the cabin for something. Path is a straight line and only a short ways to the cabin. Walk for what feels like ages, completely lost in the woods. Freak out and call for my parents. Both rush up, and I was still on the path. Okay, how are you remembering stuff from when you were 3 or 4, and also half of those stories suck? This happened on Easter morning, I believe around 4 to 5 years ago. Older sis and I are sitting in the living room, waiting for the family to leave for a gathering at a relative's place. Sis sets her phone down on a little table near the smaller sofa and goes to the bathroom for something. I also leave the living room, but I don't remember where I went. Sis returns to living room. Hear her say aloud, "Where's my phone?" Uh-oh, time for a drama bomb. Sis starts getting really upset, says she remembers placing her phone on the table beside the small sofa. I clearly remember that also. Since the phone is not on the table, we decide to check under and all around the small sofa. Not under, not around sofa. We even pulled the sofa away from the wall and the phone was nowhere to be found. Fast forward to about 2 years after the incident. Mom and Dad are getting deep into some spring cleaning. Dad pulls small sofa away from the wall. Hear him say something like, guess what I found? Lo and behold, he was holding my sis's phone. Says he found it behind the sofa. I have no explanation for this, and the family doesn't really talk about it either. Be me, 3, night before Easter. Sleeping, wake up around midnight from noises. Look up through open doorway that leads into hallway and living room. See someone walking around and think, shit, it's the Easter Bunny. Get excited, but decide to force myself back to sleep so I don't scare it. Wake up the next morning, loud talking throughout household. Cops are here. Find my house has been broken into. They stole everything from clothes to living room TV. They came through my room window and cut the bars. Be 7 years old. Dad takes me and siblings to a new church that just opened up on Easter. Can't remember the church's name, but it was Presbyterian or Baptist. Church has a candy room. We're all given bags and told to go into the unlit, dark candy room, and we have 1 minute to grab as much candy as we want. No adults are allowed in the candy room, only kids are. Walk into the candy room with siblings and other kids. Door is shut behind us. Hear the sound of some girl and boy screaming. See a door on the right open up and someone in a bunny costume come out and grab one of the kids. Girl is screaming her lungs out. I'm trying to find where the hell the candy is to stuff it in my bag. Feeling up a wall, I grab at something, but it won't come off the wall. Literally felt like a piss or dildo. Door opens up at the end of the room and shines light inside of the room, and me and my siblings walk out. All I had in my bag was a large chocolate Easter bunny. Dad never took us back to that church. Around 6 or something, night before Easter, get woken up by my older sister, 9. She says, the Easter bunny is outside. Look out the 2-story window. Huge shadowy figure bounding across our yard from the woods. It crawls up the stairs to our porch and looks through the sliding glass door. We go back to bed before the Easter bunny notices. My face when I remember it years later.